Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
All right, first and foremost, I want to give all thanks and praise to the Most High Hayat. I am Bishop Tazadak. This is Elder Nathaniel of the House of Judah International Fellowship Church. And today we'll be going into a lesson called The Strength to Endure. Right? The Strength to Endure. I want to send love and blessings out to our family in Sierra Leone.
Yes.
Blessings to all of you. We pray that everything is going well there. We'll contact you very soon.
Yes.
And to those who aren't present and to those who are tuning into this video, this lesson is going to be sort of centered around a lesson that we did on the Kingdom Keepers channel called Realities of the Truth. Right? So this is sort of an updated and more in-depth rendition of that particular lesson. We want to go a little bit more in depth than that particular point. Now, the significance of this particular Sabbath is that we're staring down the face of the most satanic day of the year, the most satanic season of the year. These last 3 months of this last quarter of the year is where Satanism and spiritual activity is at its height. You got the Day of the Dead with Halloween, and you got Christmas coming up, and everything in between. So What today is going to be centered and focused around is mainly dealing with our people, right? Because what a lot of people don't understand about these particular holidays is since they're attached to demons, right? We ourselves, when we kept these particular holy days, those demons attached themselves to us, right? For those of us prior to the truth who celebrated Easter and Halloween and Christmas, all these holy days, all these holidays, right, that we celebrated, those demons attach themselves to us in those rituals.
Right.
So when you remove yourself from these particular holy days, you remove themselves from those demons, you are removing a part of yourself.
That's right.
Right? We went over it last week in the lesson on spiritual warfare, right? Those demons that are within you have become a part of you. They know you, right? So when you separate yourself from Christmas and you separate yourself from Halloween and you separate yourself from Easter, you're taking away a part of yourself. So there's a mourning. There's a mourning period. This season comes around, you start feeling that cold breeze hit your elbow, and you start to think about, Christmas and all that kind of stuff that you used to keep. Right? Start that Christmas spirit. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're new in this truth, right? And there's also a period of loneliness. Right? That comes in. Right?
Right.
When we learn the truth of being the children of Israel and gaining the understanding that the world we live in is designed by the principalities and rulers of darkness, there are two paths starting out, right? There's two paths.
Right.
The first path is you choose to ignore the information that you've received and move forward as if life is completely normal.
Right.
Just put it out of mind, out of sight. Just, we ain't gonna worry about it. Now, this is for a multitude of reasons, right? One of those reasons is the responsibility that comes with learning this information and the task with having to change, right? Having to change the way you normally do things, the people that you hang around.
Right.
The practices that you keep, the things that you normally do, that you now have to let go, that you now have to change, and that's an immediate lifestyle change that people do not want to accept. Therefore, they choose to walk in ignorance.
Right.
For others, it's just not their time yet. For others, their ears just haven't opened.
Right.
Right. That's true as well. It's not us as the seed sowers that wake people up. And that's one thing as teachers that we're going to understand by the end of this lesson as well. It's not us doing the work and waking people up. It's the Spirit of the Most High that wakes people up.
That's right.
But we can't help anybody who chooses sleep. If we've shaken you and your eyes have opened just a little bit and you decide to go back to sleep and you miss the alarm, that's not our fault. We shook you.
Right.
Right? Others, right? The second path, they bear witness immediately and develop a hunger to know more and pursue life in this work.
Right.
But keep in mind there's also separate paths after taking this one. Think of it as a tree. Right? You have the one path that you're walking, right? The path that we all started on, living a life of sin unknowingly or knowingly. And then it comes to a breaking point, right? Where you have two branches off this particular trunk. But then once you get there, now you have more branches off these particular two paths. It happens a lot of different ways, right? But in this particular path, starting out, those who receive it, there's automatically a hunger. And everybody, there's no case where somebody goes down this particular path where there isn't a hunger. Right? There's a hunger, there's a thirst for more information, to walk, to pursue this particular life in the truth.
Right.
They began to see everything in the world and that they once knew in a new light, right? And with a different understanding. That's called the spiritual illumination. Remember we went over that in the week previous to this last one, right? That's called the enlightening, right? Illumination.
Right.
And they begin to desire and move toward change. Right?
Right.
So now you see the two paths. You receive the truth and you either reject it for whatever reason that may be, or you accept it. But one thing we must understand is that the prosperity doctrine does not exist.
That's right.
The prosperity doctrine does not exist. Don't expect when we receive this truth for it to be without pain. I'm going to say that again. Don't expect when you receive this knowledge and this truth for it to be without pain. For it to be without some level of suffering, because Christ suffered.
That's right.
Because his disciples suffered. And because the disciples suffered. And the Gentile converts suffered.
Right.
So when you receive this knowledge, whenever or however you may receive it, suffering and pain comes after. And that may be a reason for one to reject the truth.
Right.
We in the truth, we say we come into the truth and we lost everything, but we found ourselves in losing everything. Right? So for us it's a testimony. For us it's a story of joy. But for a Christian, hearing that you learned this and lost everything,
Right.
it's detrimental. Because everything that I've been taught is, if God loves you, you'll prosper. So why is it that you came to this knowledge and began to suffer? Forgetting that the same man that you claim to follow, your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, also suffered. Christ didn't have a place to lay his head. Did you know that? Christ ate day to day.
That's right.
He traveled. He was a traveler. He had no home.
Wow.
Christ himself suffered. We must remember that there is pain on this path. And because with any growth, with any level of growth, at any point, there's growing pains. Think of it like a snake. As a snake grows, it needs to get rid of its old skin. It has to shed that old skin. It can't be trapped inside of the skin that it was when it was 3 feet long, now that it's 5 feet long.
Right.
There's growing pains. Right? And there are also trials in these growing pains. Right? Trials to endure with this knowledge. Right?
Come on.
And part of the pain that comes with knowing this truth is once we come into the truth and we receive this knowledge and we begin to see things in a new light, we want everybody else around us to see it the same way we see it.
Right. Right.
You start telling your friends and your family, and they look at you like, what's going on with him? What's going on with her? Right? And they reject it and they start separating themselves from you. Because now you keep Sabbath.
Right.
But they do all their functions on Saturday.
Right.
Because you don't celebrate Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. You're becoming isolated from the people that you once loved and cared about.
Yes.
And see, at first it was just those holidays. You weren't speaking on those holidays. Now, you don't talk but once every couple weeks.
Wow, yeah.
Once every couple months. Until you stop hearing from those people.
Right.
And that right there is where the loneliness creeps in.
That's right.
That's where that divide. You see your family member and don't haven't realized that it's been 2 years since you looked them in the face in person.
Wow. That's true.
You feel separate. All the friends that you once had, you had a friend group that you used to go and do things with. Now you're spending your Saturday nights in the Bible while they're spending their Saturday nights at the club.
Wow.
Right?
That's true.
That's the loneliness. But what we must understand in this truth is that those progressions are natural.
Right.
You're not the only one that are enduring these growing pains. We all are in this truth. You may be physically alone, but spiritually you're not alone. And that this time of the year is the hardest, because this is supposed to be the time when everybody comes together. Everybody as a community are together, and you're seeing everybody on Halloween. All your friends get together and put on their costumes and go out and party. You're not with them. Thanksgiving rolls around. Your family's all together eating and everything like that. You're not there. Christmas rolls around. Even for those people who come into the truth, and it's husband or wife that's in the truth, and their companion isn't in the truth.
Right.
Imagine how lonely that must be. And the worst part is that you want them to see. Your desire is for them to see, but it's not their time to see, or they just refuse to see. These particular holidays are for friends and family gatherings, but say you don't have family.
Right.
Suicides. The loneliness becomes too much. You fall into a depression over these 3 months.
Yes.
Right? But what we in the truth often forget is that the Most High has always worked this way. He's always done this to his chosen. He's separated them from the rest of the population so that he can deal with you outside of the distractions that are brought on by this world system. Before Christ's ministry started, 40 days, 40 nights in the wilderness, he was alone. Right? Ezekiel, Isaiah, all extended periods alone. Ezekiel was laying on his side for pretty much a year by himself. He was alone. The Most High has always dealt this way. And Moses, Enoch, separated from their people. Right? That's how the Most High has always dealt. But he uses this time period to build us. And we're going to see why as this lesson goes on. Let's get Ecclesiastes in your Bible. Ecclesiastes, not Ecclesiasticus, but Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 17.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 17. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly.
So check this out. He said, I gave my heart. He came out the truth. He came into the truth, right? He heard this information, and he gave his whole life to know wisdom and to understand not only the wisdom of the Most High, but the wisdom of this world. To see the wicked world that he was living in for what it is. That's what we all come into the truth and desire, right? We want to know more. He gave his heart to know wisdom. But what happened? Read.
I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit.
An annoyance in your spirit. He said, receiving this information and knowing this information is a vexation to my spirit. Read.
For in much wisdom is much grief.
For in much wisdom is much grief. Read.
And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So the very thing that he desired was the thing that was vexing him. See, living in ignorance is easy.
It's bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
You prance around your house, you're all happy until you find out that your companion was cheating on you the whole time. It was like, it was better when I didn't know.
Exactly.
Now I can't look at you. Right? But now he gave his heart to know wisdom. And the very thing that he desired to know and the very thing that he desired to receive is the thing that's vexing him. Because that very thing is what is causing your family and your friends to distance themselves from you.
Wow.
Now when you look at the accounts of the prophets, Notice when they received information from the Most High concerning the destruction of our people and the destruction and the captivities of our people, what did they feel? Sorrow, lamentation, weeping, deep sadness, because they were burdened with information that even if they tried to convey to their people, they knew they wouldn't listen. Imagine being burdened with that. Being told of the destruction of your people and going to them and saying, listen, this is what's going to happen. They say, nah. We're the most powerful nation in the world. How can this possibly happen? And you have to sit and watch the destruction of your people. That wisdom and that knowledge that they were blessed with became a vexation. It was lamentation.
Yes. Wow.
Right? How many times do you look at an account of Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, and see them weep for our people? A deep sadness. Jeremiah had a whole book called Lamentations, just Lamentations, to lament. How do you think Moses felt being secluded from his people that whole time, knowing the destinies of the 12 tribes to go off and be destroyed? They were burdened with the knowledge and wisdom that our people could not even begin to understand. You look at you have all of this information. You know heaven and hell. You know that you're supposed to keep the law. You know the punishments. And when you see your family member, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your mother, your father doing the same thing, and you try to warn them and they reject that knowledge, and you know what their destiny and what their path is going to be. But then also knowing that there's an order to giving truth. The scriptures say you speak twice.
Right.
But then you have to let them alone.
Yeah.
Imagine that being your father.
Yeah.
It's hard to just speak twice and let it go when you know the destiny that the path that they're leading themselves down to is to destruction. But you know you have to stay in order.
Right.
You see the pain and the lamentation that comes with that being in this truth, and that's just only one small aspect of this thing. Right?
Wow.
We know the reality and the wickedness, but everybody else around us is blind.
Right.
It's almost like if you're in a lion's den and you're the only one who can see the lions. Everybody else just walk around like like they don't see anything. You're the only one that sees it. It's like, hey, don't go over in that corner. They're like, huh? Let's get Ecclesiastes Chapter 2.
Ecclesiastes Chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord.
If you come to serve the Lord. Now keep in mind, in both of these situations, the Most High didn't force anybody. In Ecclesiastes, when he came by choice.
Right,
he said, it was my desire to know wisdom.
Exactly.
And to know the madness and the folly of this world. He knew that. That's what he wanted. And in this same situation, it says, my son, if you come to serve the Lord, if you desire this path, read.
Prepare thy soul for temptation.
Prepare thy soul for temptation. Now, take your mind out of the earthly definition of temptation. See, a lot of people think that temptation means the desire to do evil. Right? To be tempted. But when we read the context of this particular scripture, we're going to find what temptation here actually means. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 1. Let's go ahead and read verse 2.
Set thy heart aright.
Set thy heart aright. So if you desire to come and serve the Most High, set your heart aright. Get your heart ready. Secure your heart. Read.
And constantly endure.
And constantly endure. This is a constant fight forward. Read.
And make not haste in time of trouble.
Ecclesiastes in your Bible. It says, and make not haste in time of trouble. Now, when we see these things that he was talking about in preparation, it has nothing to do with being tempted of the devil. None of these things have to do with being tempted by evil. This is speaking of trials.
Right.
You're preparing yourself for trials, to be tested in hardship.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be faint-hearted. The scriptures talk about the woe be unto them that are faint-hearted. Right. It's saying set your heart aright. Be prepared to take some chest punches. Right? So set your heart around. Right. Know that you're going to take some pain. He says, but through that pain, constantly endure. This is going to be a constant fight. Every week, your family going to call and say, hey, you coming for such and such? Knowing that, I got Sabbath this week.
Right. They're
going to be teaching this week. I don't want to miss the lesson. Or them saying, well, your cousin has his graduation party on Saturday, knowing that there's a lesson being taught that day. Right?
Depending on whatever type of hardship you have to endure during this time, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be tempted to either quit, even following the way of the truth. You're going to be tempted to compromise what you know is right. You know, I mean, so it depends on, it can lead to making the wrong decision in this time of hardship.
And that's why it says, make not haste, in time of trouble.
That's right.
Right? So when you're in a compromising position, take a minute to sit back and consider.
Exactly.
Those who move too quickly are the ones who make the most mistakes.
Right.
Right? The ones who move too quickly are always the ones that make the most mistakes. I watch a show called Survivor, and once you get to like day 37, day 38 of barely eating and living out in destitute conditions, it's always the one who gets to those final challenges, which are based off of mostly mental strength and patience. It's always the ones, we see them moving really slow, and we see everybody else moving real quick, right? By the time the person who's moving fast gets to the last one, they wind up dropping everything.
That's right.
But that person who was moving slow enough now has the lead. To be prudent. We talked about this last week in spiritual warfare. The truth itself is a war.
Oh yeah, something as simple as being hungry can have a serious impact on your decision.
Exactly.
You know, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Major. Absolutely.
Losing your home.
Yep.
You're in a position where you could lose your home, so you decide to compromise everything that you built in the truth up to this point to keep your house.
Based off of desperation.
Exactly. And that's the importance of a man in this time.
Right.
Being able to think about the situation and not about the condition.
That's right.
Right? Because we know according to the curse that was given to Eve, her desire shall be unto her husband. That's speaking of the comfortability, caring about the comfortability of everybody in the house.
Right.
When the man is thinking about, listen, we just need a place to go. We need a place to go. The woman's thinking about, listen, this thing needs to be like, we need about, need to have everything set up.
Yeah.
New furniture, new TV. And the man's just thinking, listen, we just need to get in somewhere.
Right. We need shelter.
Right? And that's why the scriptures say, make not haste in time of trouble. Right? Because if you're quick to make a decision, based off of the condition that you're in, the current condition that you're in, you're going to make the wrong one.
That's right. That's right. Last thing you want to do is make a permanent decision off of a temporary situation.
Exactly.
That's right.
Right? These trials are based purely off of faith.
That's right.
How do we know that? Read verse 3.
Verse 3. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy end. At thy last end. So
when it says, make not haste in the time of trouble, it's making decisions based off of fear. Right. See, if you fear this world more than you fear the Most High, you're going to lose every time. The Most High said He has not given us a spirit of fear. So if you're in a situation, a compromising situation, and you make a decision out of fear, what do you lack? Faith.
That's right.
Right? It says, do not make rash decisions out of fear. Why? Go ahead and continue to read verse 4.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Because
we are going to hit a lot of roadblocks in this truth. And let me tell you how we're going to hit those roadblocks. Everything you do will seem to fail. Every move you make, every decision that you make, every business plan that you set up fails. Everything you try to do is failing. And you know what? For a Christian, for those Christian family members that you got, they looking at you like, what have you gotten yourself into?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because when you was in the Christian church, you had that beautiful house up in Wiki Wachi. Everything, your business was going well. This was happening, and all of a sudden you start dealing in this and lose everything. And now that you're trying to get out of this, everything that you're trying ain't working either.
Yeah.
It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take it cheerfully.
Take it cheerfully. That's right.
And be patient.
That's right.
And be patient when thou art brought to a low estate.
Come on.
Because if you're in that low estate, you're in there for a reason.
That's right.
Right?
Come on.
What is the resolve? What is the solution? When everything seems to fail, when your whole life seems like it's falling apart, what is the resolve? Read verse 3.
Verse 3. Hold on one second.
Ecclesiastes 2, you went far up.
I went too far.
Right? What is the resolve? What is the resolve?
Cleave unto him.
That's the resolve. Faith. The Most High said He knows that what you have need of. I know what you need. I know you need a house.
That's right.
I know you need clothes.
Come on.
I know you need to eat.
Come on now.
It says, cleave unto him, read.
And depart not away.
Don't run away. Because that's the first thing we want to do. We see the pain and the hardship, and we want to go back to what's easy.
That's right.
Before I didn't have to keep the law. I could eat whatever I wanted.
Right.
I could do whatever I wanted to do.
Right.
And you know what? Everything was working out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let me go back to that. He says, no, cleave unto me, have faith,
Come on.
and depart. Don't run away.
That's right.
You wanted this. I didn't force you to take this path.
That's right.
You chose it.
Be still.
Read.
That thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
That thou mayest be increased in that last end. We're storing up treasures in heaven, not here.
That's right.
Come on.
If you think that this work is for something here, you're sadly mistaken. You're horribly mistaken. The works that we do is for the kingdom of heaven. Christ is coming with a kingdom.
Come on. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father.
Everything that you receive in this world is of the devil.
Come on.
If you are in Christianity and you're living it up, everything that was given to you is the devil.
That's right.
And you know what? The Most High is taking it from you because He wants to take away the things that the devil's given to you and rebuild you with things that He's giving to you. Things that can't be taken away.
That's it.
You think that it's the Most High taking these things. No, it's Satan taking them.
That's right. That's right.
Satan gave it to you and he's taking it because he wants to force you back to him.
That's right.
He's saying, you know what? I gave you that Mercedes that you love so much. I'm going to take that. I gave you that nice house. I'm going to take that. And you know what? The Most High saying, cleave unto me. Have faith.
Right.
Don't run away. Be patient. Be patient. Who wants to live, when you come into a life of the truth, who wants to live with things that was given to you by Satan?
Come on.
Wow.
Take the trials cheerfully because know that we're being stripped of everything that we received in this world by Satan. That's a glory.
That's right.
To be stripped. Imagine how it must have felt for Paul. Paul riding around in Roman garbs. To be stripped down of everything that he was known for before. That outfit that he wore when he was murdering our people. And put on something that the Most High gave to him. Not that the Romans gave to him, but something that the Most High gave to him. Something that he earned. We're being stripped of everything that was given to us by Satan in his world and being rebuilt with full reliance on the Most High. Full reliance and faith in the Most High. Because as soon as we start following the Most High, Satan is going to take away everything he gave you while you're working for him. Because if you're not working for the Most High, how many of y'all know if you're not working for the Most High, you're working for Satan?
That's right.
And we're going to show you just how deep that goes. Because some people think that working for the Most High is just being in the truth. Just knowing the truth.
Right.
Oh no. If the Most High gave you a gift and you aren't putting it into work, don't you know that you're working for Satan? Because Satan's goal in the first place was to keep you from working. So if you're still not working, guess what you're doing? Exactly what Satan wants you to do. You're hoping to maintain his kingdom. Because your goal is to take according to the Most High, your work is to take the sledgehammer to his kingdom, to set fire to his kingdom. If what the Most High gave you to do that, if he gave you a sledgehammer and you put it down and you sitting down watching everybody else work, guess who you're working for?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, there are no bystanders in this war. There's one side and there's another side.
Wow.
Let's get Isaiah chapter 59, verse 14.
Isaiah 59 and 14.
This is going to be a deep scripture. Read.
And judgment is turned away backwards, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Verse 15. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
Read that again.
He that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
He that departs from evil makes himself a prey. Satan is coming to get you.
That's right.
When you decide that I'm no longer going to commit sin, I'm no longer going to do evil, you've made yourself an enemy of the state. Everyone is going to be out to get you.
That's right.
When it seemed like everybody was your friend, everybody loved you when you was doing evil, now those same people that loved you hate you.
Come on.
It was like on John Wick when he became excommunicado, and literally in that one instant, like he started killing everybody around.
All his friends.
Work for the it was like bumps on the street, like random people, like old people, like the whole city turned around and looked at him like, bro, we're all out to get you. Everyone's ready to get him.
Another example, Ice Cube.
Yeah.
How many people was bumping Ice Cube music and down with Ice Cube until he came out saying he's an Israelite on Twitter? Now it's cancel Ice Cube. The same people that claimed they were for this brother, the same people who claim, oh, we're friends, want to attack the brother now.
Wow. Shame.
Deshaun Jackson, all these players supporting him and rallying behind him. He comes behind and says he's an Israelite. Now all of a sudden, oh, he should be fired. He has no place in the league.
Wow.
The second we decide to dedicate our lives to the work in the truth, we become enemy number one.
That's right.
All eyes, all demonic forces, all eyes are on you. Because now you have become a threat to their kingdom. You're no longer a friend, you are a foe. It says, he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. You go from predator to prey. Just that quick.
Yep.
And you know what? All those attacks may not be horrible attacks. You may not lose your house, right? You may not lose your house. A lot of people think that even Satan can appear as an angel of light. They say you receive the truth in Orlando, right? You receive the truth from a church in Orlando, and all of a sudden you get a job offer. All you got to do is move out to California. You get a higher paying job. All you got to do is we'll move you out to California, but you got to work on Saturdays. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go out here. This is an opportunity from the Most High. I'm gonna go out here, and you know what? I'll be back. I'll be back to help y'all do this work. Once I get this money, you never see that person again. Never see him again.
Bait of Satan.
See, it looked like a good opportunity. Coming to the truth, right? Before, your job only had you working 2 days a week, neither of which was Saturday. Now all of a sudden they want you to work 5 days a week and on Saturday. That's an attack.
That's right.
It's trying to pull you away first. It's like, if I can, he's still new. If I can pull him away, then we're good. But once they realize that they can't pull you away, that's when they start snatching things. That's when the devil starts saying, you know what, I'm going to take your house. I'm going to take your car. You're going to lose your job. Go ahead and finish up verse 15.
Verse 15. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
He maketh himself a prey. Read.
And the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment.
And it displeased him that there was no judgment. But there will be judgment. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, Salakia.
Whatsoever is brought upon, Salakia, hold on, sorry. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. This doesn't say when you might be changed to a low estate. You may be changed to a low estate. It says no. Be patient when you are going to be brought to a low estate. Be patient when thou art brought to a low estate. Right? Why? Because it's the Most High who wants us there. Right? See, the first trial of losing everything is so that he can break us down to build us up with full reliance and faith on him. But if we're brought down to a low estate again, there's a reason why you're there. And it's most likely to do a work. How do we know this? Let's get Philippians chapter 2, chapter 4.
Philippians.
Right there.
Oh, okay. Philippians chapter 4, verse 10. But I rejoice in the Lord greatly.
Now keep in mind, remember when it says take it cheerfully, whatever comes upon you, take cheerfully? Paul says, I rejoice in the Lord greatly. Read.
That now, at the last, your care for me hath flourished again, wherein ye were also careful, but ye lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned, in whatsoever state I am in, wherewith to be content.
It says, I have learned whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. He rejoices, right? It says, whether I'm rich or whether I'm poor, I've learned to be content. Read.
I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound.
I know how to be abased. I know how to be the low of the earth, living out of tents, not knowing what I'm going to eat next. And I know how to abound. I know how to behave when the Most High takes me to the upper echelon. Right? You had people from, I mean, you look at the people that Christ met and the people that Paul met. Christ was brought to some high places. I forget the name of the two brothers that were in very high position that Christ met and wound up donating boats to their church. That's how they got around. Right? You look at these different things. The Most High takes us and put us in different places at different times for whatever reason. If he brings us to a low estate, it's most likely because there's people down there that need you, that need the word. And if he brings you to a higher place, it's most likely because there's somebody up here that needs to know what it is that you're saying or whatever work it is that you're doing. There are different aspects to this truth, but one thing we cannot do is be comfortable being comfortable.
That's right.
If we become comfortable being comfortable, you've already lost the war. Because then every time you come to a low estate, you need a break. We're just going to take a couple of weeks off. we're just gonna take some time off till we can get settled. Read.
Everywhere and in all things I am instructed, both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
Both to abound and to suffer need. Paul understood what it is that he was getting into when he came into this work. When you come into the truth, when you decide to take the second path, there's a hunger, there's a desire for the word. But it also comes with pain and vexation in your spirit. Why? Because now the hard work comes in. The pain, the suffering of loss. That's the first thing, is loss.
That's right.
We think that every loss is a permanent loss. Not every loss in this truth is a permanent loss. Just because you may lose your family to start out with doesn't mean that they won't come back later. That they might not, because keep in mind, not everybody is sent is to be awoken at separate times. For those who are awoken, right? So it may be now for me, but it may be 2 years down the road for you. But what the Most High wants to see is, are you going to choose them over me? Christ said, "Let the dead bury the dead."
That's right.
He said, you sell your things and follow me. Come follow me. Now, let the dead bury the dead. It's not that those people aren't important and that you need to excommunicate those people out of your life. But if it comes down to them or the Most High, there's a choice that needs to be made.
Right.
Your salvation or them.
That's right.
The scriptures say many are called, but few are chosen. A lot of people don't understand the gravity of that statement. Anybody can hear the word and bear witness to the word, but the ones who are chosen are the ones who endure. Are you chosen? During these time periods, during these rough times from here to the end, you're going to find out whether you're chosen.
That's right.
We're going to find out who the chosen are. Because there are people who get 2-3 years into this work and walk away. People who get 5-6 years into this work and walk away. Many are called, but few are chosen.
Wow.
Read verse 13.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me.
Faith. Faith. Go back up to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Ecclesiastes chapter 2.
Okay.
Go and read verse 5.
Verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
So, gold is purified in fire. The original form of gold is nothing. A lot of people, a regular person who doesn't know gold, would pick up a piece of gold and just throw it back. It's not something that appears beautiful. It's like a dirty rock with a little bit of shine. But with fire and the purification process, the infirmities have to be removed. Right? The first step to getting gold is the infirmities and the dirt being removed. Right? In this particular case, the dirt and the infirmities is your dependence on this world. I'm going to say that again. In the context in which the Most High is speaking here, with the gold tried in the fire, is our dependence on this world. So when we go through the fire of adversity, right, and everything is starting to be stripped away from us, the house, the cars, the job, He's forcing you to rely completely on Him. He's taking away the old you and making you into a new you,
Right.
a better you. But that doesn't mean that he has to lay on the heat in order to do it. There has to be heat. There has to be pressure.
Right.
How many precious metals or precious stones don't have to go through some form of purification process? There is none. With anything that's a natural resource, it has to go through a purification process. All those, our dependence on the world, everything that we gained in this world, all that dirt and muck that we gained through this world, the Most High has to get off. All those things that Satan added to you, he needs to get rid of so that he can build you. This is trying time, so that the Most High can see if he can use you. Can you be used? Can you be utilized in this work? Can I depend on you to reveal to you the secrets of my word and know that when times get rough, that you're going to be there? Because the Most High isn't just going to reveal or give knowledge to you. Not only do you need to have a hunger and a thirst for that word, but you also need to withstand trials. Will you accept, right? Will you accept everything being stripped from you and being built from scratch, or will you turn back? Or will you turn back? These are the strength. This is what it requires to have strength to endure. This is what it takes. And if you're weak, this isn't for you. Paul said, if I wanted to please man, I wouldn't be doing this work. If I wanted to please man, I would still be doing what I was doing prior to getting knocked out on my way to Damascus. If I wanted to please people, let's get 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 21.
2 Peter chapter 2, verse 21. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness, than, after they have known it, to turn away from the holy commandment delivered unto them.
So it would have been better for you to hear the truth and ignore it and walk away than for you to hear the truth, begin walking and turn back. You want to know why it's dumb? Because you started, had things stripped from you just to turn back and walk away with nothing. You don't receive the gift of the Most High, and you've already lost all the gifts of Satan. So what are you turning back for? You choose to suffer loss, and when you suffer loss, you go back.
Wow.
How much sense does that make? How would it have profited the mother and the sons that they were trying to force eat the pork? All of her sons tortured, just to get tortured and killed, just for her last son to eat. All his brothers died for nothing. All the loss that you suffered, your church excommunicating you, your family having secret conversations behind your back, not inviting you to things no more. Your friends decide to turn and walk away. You lose your house, you lose your job, you lose your car just to turn around and go back to nothing. Go back with nothing. Read.
Verse 22. But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb. The dog is turned to his own vomit again. And the soul that is washed to her wallowing in the mire.
Washing yourself and then going bathing in dirt. The only option at this point, once you get to this point, is to push forward towards the kingdom of heaven or go back to your old lifestyle. There's only two options. You push forward or you go back. Right? You push forward or you go back. Go ahead and read, go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, Salakia, verse 6.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 6. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Have faith. Read.
Verse 7. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy.
Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy. Now keep in mind, we went over in the last lesson, the fear of the Most High is keeping his commandments. Right? So in this time of temptations or in this time of trials, we are to keep his commandments diligently. Read that one more time.
Order thy way aright and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord.
Ye that keep his commandments. Read.
Ye that fear the Lord. Wait for his mercy and go not aside.
Go not aside. Keep keeping the commandments. Keep doing what you're doing. Read.
Lest ye fall.
Lest ye fall. If you turn away, you will fall. Go on to read verse 8.
Ye that fear the Lord. Believe in him, and your reward will not fail.
Believe in him, and your reward will not fail. It's like, listen, I don't know what you're worried about. It's not like you're going to stay in this position. Read.
Verse 9. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy.
Hope for good and the everlasting joy and mercy. This is the final goal. Look at the final goal, the final destination. People are so focused on where they're at now and what's going on with them now that you forget what you got in this truth for. When you first found this truth, it was the joy of knowing who you are and the joy of receiving the kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. Eyes on the prize. For those of you who are new, the goal from the beginning is the same. But it's the trials. It's the loss that causes you to lose sight of what that goal is. Your eyes go from looking up to looking down. A lot of times with a ball handler, after they had the ball, after they turned over the ball got stolen 3 and 4 times. Their eyes start looking down. Before you were scanning the court, you're able to scan the court and feel confident in what you were doing. But now after you've had the ball taken from you 3 or 4 times, your eyes, you start looking down. And now that you're looking down, you can't see everything else that's coming.
That's right.
It's the same thing here. Look forward. The Most High is going to put the things that you love in front of you first.
Exactly.
He sacrificed his son for our salvation. Are you willing to sacrifice yours? He sacrificed what he loved for us. Are you willing to sacrifice what you love for him?
Wow.
The truth causes division. Christ said, have I now become your enemy because I tell you the truth? He said he's not come to bring peace, but a sword. Truth causes division. 9 times out of 10, if you tell somebody the truth, they're going to have a problem with it. It hurts.
Right.
If we endure these trials, if we endure this loss, if it be his will, those people will come back. But we must decide first what's more important. See, after as long as we have been in this truth, for the first couple years, people decided they wanted to distance themselves from us. They tried to invite us to things here and there, but eventually they stopped. After about the first 2 or 3 years, they're like, we're going to do such and such, but it's not going to be on a Saturday. They came around eventually.
Right.
They started to take a hit. Like, listen, he ain't gonna budge off of this. So if we really want them around, then we're gonna have to fix this.
Right.
They came back around eventually. Right?
God.
Let's get verse 10.
Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded?
The word confounded means vexed. It says, has he ever allowed them to be vexed? Read.
Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken?
Did any of them abide in his commandments, keep his commandments, and was forsaken? Read.
Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?
Whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Even Zepho, the grandson of Esau, a horribly wicked man, called upon the Most High for help in battle, and the Most High helped him. That's why it says, who have called upon the Most High? Who has he ever despised that's called upon him? Even Zepho, a wicked man, called on the Most High, and the Most High helped him.
Wow.
Read.
Verse 11. For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction.
And saveth in time of affliction. This is prior to Christ. This was written prior to Christ, but yet it was talking about the forgiveness of sins.
Right.
The Most High pardoned the righteous, those whose hearts were in the right place. This walk is not going to be a perfect one. People who leave the truth talk about, well, I found it real hard to keep the commandments. I couldn't be perfect. It's like, how exactly? I couldn't be perfect. Nobody told you to be perfect. We're supposed to walk towards perfection. The goal is striving for perfection, but no one is expected to be perfect. Oh, well, I figured I could, while I was in the truth, I couldn't be perfect. So I went back to Christianity because I don't have to be perfect. It's an excuse to go back to doing what you want to do and feel better about it. You wanted to, just be honest, you wanted to fornicate without feeling guilty.
That's pretty much it.
You wanted to be able to lie and just go say, I'm sorry to God. Be honest. If you're in the truth, if you've come on this path and you see that you won't be able to withstand, don't start. It's better for you not to have come into this knowledge than for you to come in and walk away.
Wow.
Be honest with yourself. The Most High is giving you the strength to endure. He's giving you the keys to access that strength to push forward. The Most High is not going to forsake you. He knows what you need in these times of trouble. He's not just going to take everything from you and leave you to hang out to dry. Who has he ever done that to? Job lost everything. And everything that he lost, he received. He got back again. So why is it that we're sitting around here wondering what we're going to do? What am I going to eat next? Where are we going to live? What am I going to do? Everybody's scared. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's worried. Especially for those who pray and still worry. What you praying and worrying for?
Right.
The Most High said, whoever called on the Most High, who has he ever despised that have called on him? So what you worrying for? That's the spirit of fear. The Most High has not given us a spirit of fear. Let's get into those fearful people. Let's get verse 12.
Verse 12. Woe be to fearful hearts.
Woe be to fearful hearts. Right? Fearful hearts. Read.
And faint hands.
People who are without faith. Fearful hearts are people without faith. Right? And faint hands are people who can't work without comfort. How many times do we watch sports and we see in the last minute somebody, they get nervous and throw an interception? You don't want that guy on your team, do you?
That's right.
It's like, listen, this dude he crumbled under the pressure.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. The Most High can't have somebody who, I need you to... That's faint hands.
Yes.
What are hands meant to do? Hands are meant to work. So if you can't work and be uncomfortable at the same time, this isn't for you. Paul didn't have a place to lay his head. He was wandering, but he did the work. When he had a place to live, he was doing the work. When he didn't, he was doing the work. When he was hungry, he was doing the work. He was content.
Right.
Anybody who comes into this truth and expects for everything to be comfortable, you are sadly mistaken. There's two paths. Notice when I spoke of the first two paths, I never said that there was pain on the other side. Now the end destination of that path is pain. These people, you see two people. I'll give you an example. You got two friends. Both of them heard the truth at the same time. The one decides to go another direction. Both of them have the same career choice. Both of them want to be athletes. One of them decides to ignore the truth. One decides to move forward. This one breaks his leg, ends his career. This one gets a full ride scholarship to his favorite college. This one loses his house, loses his father, loses his mother. This one right here winds up signing a big contract and got drafted #1 overall. And it seems like our lives changed at the same point. But for the one that chose the wrong side, everything is working out. And for me, it seems like everything I try is failing.
Wow.
The scripture said it. The second you dedicate yourself to the Most High, you become a prey. You go from predator to prey.
That's right.
It's a fact. The scripture says, it says, he who chooses chooses to serve the Most High, prepare your soul for temptation.
That's right.
You are going to lose everything, and they're going to make you want to say, I quit. It's an I quit match. I'm going to throw everything I can at you until you say, I quit. Who will have the strength to endure?
Wow.
Read.
I'm going to start back at verse 12. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth 2 ways.
Does anybody know what the sinner that goeth 2 ways is? One who claims to come into the truth, but they justify within the scriptures the sin that they want to keep committing.
That's right.
Right? So they come into the truth, like, for example, these marijuana lovers, people who love weed. Like, listen, they seeing visions. They was high all the time. The prophet was high all the time. It's enlightening, right? That's or it's saying, well, people who use the Bible, for example, a lot of Christians do this. Well, yeah, that's a law, but we don't have to keep it because of Christ. We can eat whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. We can go whatever we want. And we can speak however we want.
Right.
You're using the scriptures. You're trying to use Christ to push forward your wicked agenda. Go ahead and read verse 13.
Verse 13. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted.
Woe means destruction, by the way. Destruction to them that are faint-hearted. People without faith. Why? Read.
For he believeth not.
Because he believeth not. Therefore, read.
Therefore shall he not be defended.
He shall not be defended. Those who lack faith and do not believe, when the reports go up before the angels of the presence, because keep in mind, every sunset, every sunrise, sunset, the angel reports, gives a report of everything that you've done. For those who lack faith, those who act in haste, right? Those who commit sin, who behave this way, who are without faith, right? They have no defense. Your angel can't vouch for you.
Exactly.
He can't go. See, if I'm acting in faith and I make a mistake, my angel can vouch for me. He's like, listen, this is a good brother. He's been doing what he was supposed to do. He made a mistake. He made a mistake. Right? Or he chose the wrong path. But it wasn't. He didn't choose this path out of fear. But if you made a rash decision,
right,
that could be destruction for you and your family, and you made that decision out of fear, your angel can't vouch for you.
That's right.
There's no defense. He's just like, he got flustered. Now his whole family's in danger now because he got flustered. You have no defense. None. Right. Like, hey, he lost his house and lost his car. He knew it was going to happen. He was warned, and he got flustered. And he folded. Right. The pressure came and he folded. You have no defense. Read.
Verse 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience.
Woe unto you, destruction unto you who have lost patience. You have lost patience. The scriptures say, I've learned how to be abased and abound. You really think that you're going to be in this low estate forever? You thought that because you fell, you were going to stay falling.
I lost patience.
You lost patience. You said, man, I can't live like this another year. So I'm gonna go and just do this. You lose everything. Satan comes, gives you a job offer. You know what? You've lost your house, your car, all of this. But you know what? That same job that I offered you when you first came into this truth, California, all you got to do is work on Saturdays. I'm coming back to you with the same job offer. I'm going to come back to you with the same job offer now that you've lost everything. Are you going to take it? All you got to do is work Sabbaths. You got to work Sabbaths and move to California away from the body. Right? Are you going to take it? Now that you've lost everything. You've lost, and you take that job, it's all I can do. We've lost everything. It's the only choice I have. Not knowing that you were 2 weeks away from your blessing.
Yeah.
You lost patience.
Couldn't trust the process.
Read.
Lost patience. And what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you?
And what will you do when the Lord shall visit you? What do you have to say at that point? How do you defend yourself? It's like, listen, you were on the right path. You were doing the right thing. Everything was working out. You lost patience and fell short. Everything that you worked for, up to that point, all the work that you put in, everything that you lost, up until this point, you've lost. Because you lost patience. How do you defend yourself against that? What do you say when you go before the Most High? He's like, you took the job in California, working on Sabbaths. You were doing everything you're supposed to be. Well, how do you defend yourself against that? What you gonna say? I thought it was from you. Like as if the Most High is gonna give you a job that takes you, first of all, away from the body, and second, makes you work on Sabbaths.
Right.
No, you knew that wasn't from the Most High. All you gotta do is work 2 Sabbaths out the month.
The blessings of the Lord maketh the rich, but addeth no sorrow to it.
Exactly. I mean, if it was from the Most High, most likely the Most High would have you establishing yourself, first of all, here in Babylon. Number one, when he told you to leave. And number two, he wouldn't make you break his law to get it.
Exactly.
Read.
Verse 16. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him.
Those that keep his commandments, those who fear the Most High, right? The fear of the Most High is keeping his commandments. If you keep his commandments, you will seek that which is well. Why? Because you know what's good. The law tells you what's good from what's evil. So you know what's good. You'll seek good. Right? You see that job offer and you're like, I got to work on Sabbath. No, that's against the law. Right? And I wouldn't please the Most High. So no, I know that doesn't please the Most High for me to work on Sabbath. Read.
And they that love him shall be filled with the law.
And they that love him shall be filled with the law. Right? One thing that we can't allow ourselves to do, right, is allow our faith the faith that we built up to dwindle over time. What's the point with everything that our family has been through, right? What's the point for us to build up all of this faith just to lose all of it? All the trials and tribulations that our family has been through.
Come on.
All the faith that we built up just to lose patience and lose all of it.
Come on.
That means that all the trials and ups and downs that we went through before mean nothing.
That's right.
Starting from scratch.
Yes.
Right.
We've labored in this truth for how long? 6 years?
About 6 years. Yeah. Yep.
I'm 20 years old. That was
Yeah.
everything. Think about everything that's transpired from the age of 14 to 16. All of the shaking up and the moving and all this kind of stuff that's happened. the stressful terrain just to get to this point and stop.
Come on.
We can't, and we're not just losing patience with the Most High, but losing patience with our brethren. One thing that people mistake when the scriptures say when it says speak once, yea twice, and then kick the dust off your feet, people just think that you need to cut people off. No, you don't lose patience with that person. It's just that you don't go there with them anymore. You're not trying to force them into receiving the truth. Right?
Right.
But we can't lose patience with those people. It may not be their time yet. Just like we can't lose patience with our brothers in the truth.
Right.
Right? Those brothers laboring with us in this truth. Right?
Come.
Read.
Verse 17. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts. And
Read that part again.
They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts.
Those who know the law, those who keep the law, know they need to prepare themselves. The law is not popular.
That's right.
If you tell somebody in the U.S. that they can't do nothing on Saturday, they're going to have a problem with it. Everything good happens on Saturday. Halloween is today.
Ironically, yes.
Right? You tell people, no, we doing this instead of... People gonna have a problem. You tell people, oh, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. They gonna have a problem with it. That's why you become enemy number one, because you're bucking against Satan's system. What everybody else is programmed to think. Are you gonna vote? Well, no, I'm not gonna vote. What? Do you hate black people?
Many have died.
They died so that you can vote.
How dare you?
So many people died to get the right to vote. I mean, the psychology. See, you say at the same time, many have died so that we can get the right to vote, but we only vote once a year, and those aren't even the elections that matter.
Come on.
You don't vote for your local government. The ones that are actually proposing things that are causing you to suffer in your communities. You aren't voting when you should be putting a minority in that mayor's position instead of putting a white man to suppress you in that position that's literally directly affecting you. You aren't voting for the chief captain of the police force, the same ones that are killing the brothers in your community, are you? So don't come talk to me about the president of the United States who I'll never see in a day of my life.
Exactly.
You see the psychology? The mental bondage of our people?
Wow.
Those who fear the Most High will prepare their hearts. They know that obtaining knowledge and seeking wisdom comes with pain. It comes with pain.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the strength to endure that pain, you're not built for this work.
Come on.
You're not built for this truth. Many are called, but few are chosen.
Come on now. Come on, come on, come on.
If you can't take correction from an elder, if you can't take correction from a bishop, if somebody says, hey, you're eating the wrong thing, hey, you're dressing the wrong way, you're not built for this work.
Thank you.
This comes with correction.
Yes.
I've been corrected. I'm a bishop and I have to be corrected. Mom knows. Dad knows. It comes with correction. But it's how you take that correction. You have to prepare your heart. It's going to take a beating. The things that you love are going to be taken away from you. These spirits that you've been attached to your whole life, when those are taken away from you, you need to cry. People think that you need to be all tough and strong when you look when something's taken away from you. When people are rid from a demon, they cry. There's a mourning period because something that was a part of you has been taken away. We have to prepare our hearts These are people who know the law, who understand the law. It comes with correction. You have to have thick skin. You have to have tough skin. Because it's not like it was back then where we were growing up in this knowledge, growing up in this truth. We were growing up. Our parents were already getting us the clothes that we're supposed to be wearing. And they were already having us keep the feast days and keep the Sabbaths. We grew up in a satanic system. We were programmed by wickedness. So coming out of that is pain. Things that we're attached to and taking them away is pain. For us, wearing clothes is easy. But if you go to an island where they're not used to wearing clothes, clothes are uncomfortable. There's growing pains. We have to prepare our hearts. We got to let go of a lot of the things, and we got to put on a lot of things that aren't going to feel good. It's not going to feel good. And when you go to present the truth to somebody and they reject it, it is going to hurt. I don't care who that person is. You can be talking to a total stranger about the truth, and when they reject it, your heart laments. It hurts. I don't even know who this person is, but because they just rejected it, in my mind, it's a path to hell. It hurts. You've chosen the path to hell, and it hurts. It's a tough business. It's a tough business. That's why this lesson is called the strength to endure.
That's right.
This isn't a walk without trials and tribulations. This is a walk that's all trials and tribulations.
Right.
I know somebody needed to hear this. Ezekiel chapter 3.
You want to finish that?
Oh, go ahead and finish that up. Go ahead and finish that up.
I start back at verse 17. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight.
And humble their souls in his sight. You're not always going to be right. There are going to be some things that you get wrong. The scriptures say we see through a glass dimly. We don't have everything right yet. But every year, every day in this work, we find out something new and we have to adjust.
That's right.
Read.
Saying, we will fall in the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men.
Read that one more time.
We will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men.
If I fall, I would rather fall into the hands of the Most High than into the hands of the devil.
Come on.
If I'm going to fall, I would rather fall forward in this work. I would rather fall in this work than to fall backwards to where I came from. To fall into destruction. To fall into wickedness. I don't know how it is that somebody can be in the truth for 6 years and then leave the truth and go back to eating pork.
Come on.
How do you do that?
Come on. Exactly.
All the pain that you endure from the bubble guts and everything that you get from not eating pork for so long, you can endure that, but you can't endure this. Right?
Wow.
It says we will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. Read.
For as his majesty is, so is his mercy.
As his majesty is, so is his mercy. This work, it hurts. There's a lot of pain. There's going to be some falling. But the fact of the matter is that the Most High is always going to be there to catch us as long as we're in his work. As long as we're keeping his law. Right? It says, as his majesty is, so is his mercy. The scriptures say, has Israel stumbled, they should fall? Think about the destitute state that our people have been in for the past couple hundred years. But yet the Most High still accepts us. Right? There's going to be pitfalls. The scripture said, I know how to be abased and abound. Just because you're abased doesn't mean that the Most High loves you less than when you abound. If you're abased, most likely it's because he needs you there. There's people that you need to reach there.
Right.
Let's get Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 1.
Ezekiel 3 and 1. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll.
Eat this roll. Now, what is this roll? The roll is the Bible, right? But back then it was a scroll. Right? It was a scroll. But what this scroll represented was what was already written in the heavenly tables. How many of y'all know what the heavenly tables are? The heavenly tables is what the most is the Bible, right? But it was what was written in the heavens. The Bible was written in the heavens before it was ever scribed by men.
Right.
So what this is speaking of when it says eat this roll is speaking of the heavenly tables. It's speaking of knowledge from the beginning to the end. All of the knowledge that's in the scriptures is study, right? So he tells Ezekiel to eat and digest the scriptures, right? Read.
Eat this roll and go speak unto the house of Israel.
He says, eat this roll, right? Take in all of this knowledge, all of this information from the heavenly tables and go speak to my people. Right? Before we can go teach and speak to our people, we have to study and learn first. You can't just find the truth and start teaching. There's a study period that needs to happen.
Right.
And that's usually what happens. We come into this truth and you're excited and you're rambunctious and you're whipping through the Bible. You're taking notes and you're highlighting everything. You're digging in, right? We've all had that. Everybody in this room has had that. Whereas it's like, oh, you're buying up all the books and everything like that. That's eating the roll. It's how many times when we first came into this truth, were we sitting down in the living room, going through video after video after video till 4 o'clock in the morning. The whole family sitting there going through video after video after video. Not forget that we haven't eaten. we didn't eat nothing. People like, pause so I can go to the bathroom. You know? People don't realize that the word is food. That's why Christ said, man cannot live off of bread alone, but the word that proceedeth from the Most High's mouth. How many know that the Bible is the word that proceedeth from the Most High's mouth? So by studying and by reading the Bible, that's food. That's why you can be digging into the Bible for this long period of time and forget that you ate. It's spiritual food. Right? And in that moment, when you're fasting, when Christ fasted for 30 days and for 40 days and for 40 nights, his food was the word. That's why he told Satan, he said, man cannot live off of bread alone. Right? And it's in that period where you start shifting between the spirit world and the physical world. There's a bridge in between. But in that space right there, in that small space between terrestrial and celestial, that spirit tells you, listen, you need to eat something. But just enough to where you stay right here. To eat like peppermint leaves or some oregano, something. Just to keep, because if you don't eat, you're going to cross all the way over. That's when you die. But we just need you in this space right here. So eat a little something so you can stick right here. That's why Christ was able to see the spirit and the physical at the same time. He had fasted to the point to where he was right at that bridge. He was eating the roll. Right? Go ahead and get verse 2.
Verse 2. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll.
He caused me to eat that roll. Right? So he was filled with this knowledge. Read.
And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat.
Digest it. Read.
And fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee.
Allow it to meditate on it. Just allow it to process. Right? So now you sat there and you torn up your Bible. You got all these notes. It's like, now allow yourself to process all of this information that you just taken in. Read.
Then did I eat it. And it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness.
It was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Right? You receive all this knowledge and it feels great when it's still in your mouth. Right? It feels great while, tastes good. This information is great. Read.
Verse 4. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them.
Speak with my words unto them. Right? Now keep in mind that it was sweet, that the roll was sweet in his mouth. Right? Keep that in mind. Man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the Most High's mouth. So by reading his word and eating that roll, feeding and nourishing us, it's sweet because we have the knowledge to break down anything. Now that you've taken in all of these scriptures and you've torn up that book and you have all these notes. Before you ain't open the door for a Jehovah's Witness. Now a Jehovah's Witness come to your door, you bring them in, it's like, you want something to drink? You ready for a debate. It's like, yeah, what you want to talk about? You know a good dog in the world, you don't want to talk about the love of Jehovah. You see a Muslim and you want to conversate with him now. You see a pastor, you want to debate. Right? But then the Most High sends us to deal with the house of Israel. Now we've consumed this role and we've digested and we've processed all this information, and he tells us to go deal with our people. It was sweet at first. Let's get verse 5.
Verse 5. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel.
Not to the Gentiles. You aren't sent to the Gentiles. Read.
Not to many people of a strange speech and of a hard language.
See, the original ministry wasn't to the Gentiles. Right? He didn't send us to the Gentiles, right? In the original ministry. Read.
Whose words thou canst understand. Surely, had I sent thee unto them, they would have hearkened unto thee.
Whoa! Read that again.
Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee.
It's saying if I had sent you to the Gentiles, they would have listened. They would have received this knowledge. He said, but check this out. He said they would have hearkened unto me. Read verse 7.
But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee.
He said, if I had sent you to the Gentiles, they would have hearkened unto me, but not Israel. See, why did he say that the Gentiles would have received the knowledge? Because their desire is to serve the most powerful of all gods. That's the Gentiles' desire. Every Gentile thinks that they have the highest God, that they have the most powerful God. Right? They just don't know who the most powerful God is. If they were made aware of our God, they would serve him. But the ministry wasn't to them. It was to us. That's the problem for those of us who are pursuing a life in this work. As a man coming into this truth, your desire is to teach, to do work. Whether you're teaching on camera or you're teaching your family, you are going to teach.
That's right.
That's what comes with the territory being a man in this truth.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
So in this work, right, you have to prepare yourself as a teacher.
That's right.
Right? That's partly what it comes with the territory. You don't get to choose.
Right.
Now, your gifts are different, and your administration in the body may be different. But as far as leading and guiding your family, that's your responsibility. Right?
That's right.
So, the Most High gives you all this information. You can break down anything, but then he tells you, go and speak to your people. Remember how I said the word was sweet? Read.
Start back at verse 7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me.
He said they won't listen to you because they won't even listen to me. He said they won't listen to God himself, the most powerful of all gods. So they definitely not going to listen to you. The Most High is sending us as men, the teachers, to the most stiff-necked nation on the planet. The most stubborn and disobedient people on this earth.
That's right.
Read.
For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted.
He said, for all of the house of Israel. He's sending them to the most stiff-necked and dangerous people on this planet. It's one of the only nations where you can go amongst your people and teach the truth and be in danger of physical and emotional harm. Right? It's only our people. See, what's crazy is that when you look at most of these people street preaching, right? You see most of these people preaching and teaching on the street, the only ones that are confrontational are our people. The white people come there and they listen quietly. The Chinese people, they stop for a second, nod, leave. The Arabs, them, nod, leave. And you got black people that just settle out. No matter where you are, all over the earth, it's the same. The most stiff-necked and stubborn people, the Most High sent us to. We're spoiled. We already know who the most powerful God is. We already benefited off of him. I want to do what I want to do now. Right? So when we go to our people and they reject the truth, it hurts. Because it's our own people. It's your own family. It's your own friends that you're presenting this truth to. But they reject it. No matter what we do, we become our enemy. They become our enemy. You could be the best person. They need something, you give it to them. Oh, I need a ride here. I need a ride there. Oh, I need some money. Oh, I need this. But because of what it is that you believe and what it is that you're trying to convey to them as a teacher, you are their enemy. They will seek to destroy you. Christ's own people. Right? We go to our people and they reject it. And because it's our people, it hurts. It hurts worse. It hurts worse when it's your family. Right? But if we stop, right? But if we stop, started doing this work and me teaching, if I were to just stop speaking right now and never speak the word again, I would be serving Satan.
Come on.
By default, I would be serving Satan. Anyone who comes into this truth and isn't using the gifts that was given to you by the Most High and the knowledge that the Most High gave you, you're by default working for Satan.
That's right. Be
either hot or cold or be spewed out. There is no in between. If you're sitting in the body and you aren't contributing anything to the body, spiritually or otherwise, no, just spiritually. Actually, we don't need nothing for you physically. The Most High will provide that. But if you aren't providing anything spiritually to the work and to the body, you're serving Satan. When you come into this truth, you are entering into a war. And anyone who is not fighting is serving the other side. The less warriors we have, the less fighters we have, the more the other side benefits. Because there's already a few of us as it is. Right. The scripture said that the labor is great, that the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. That many are called, but few are chosen. That the number of Israel is as the sands of the sea, but only a remnant shall be saved. It's enough. Our numbers are already small enough. But when you have people in the body that are not working, you're serving the other side.
There's no other way to put it.
You're either working over here or you're working over there. All Satan needs you to do is not work. He needs to make you feel like they doing teaching. They teaching, that's all good. They doing the work. Those people are stiff-necked, right? We need to be just as stiff-necked with the truth as they are without it.
That's right.
How do we know this, right? We need to be stiff-necked and persevere. And continue to love them even though they hate us. Because no, they will hate you. Oh yeah. They will hate you. They will. Majority of the prophets that died, they didn't die in peace. They were brutally murdered. That may not be the same time that we're in now. But prepare your soul for temptation.
Right.
Go ahead and get Matthew chapter 13, verse 3.
Matthew 13 and 3. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and fowls came and devoured them up.
Now, the seed is the truth. Right? The seed is the information. Christ has the understanding that even though everyone receives a seed, each individual is not going to take care of that seed, nurture it, and water it as they should.
Right.
So everyone gets a seed. Imagine if somebody just went outside with a bag of seeds and was just throwing them everywhere. Right? Just throwing seeds.
Right.
Everybody gets one, but how they deal individually with that seed is up to them. Right? And what fruit someone produces over that time is the work, is going to show what works they've been doing, how well they've been taking care of the seed that they were given.
Right.
Right? That's why Christ says you shall know them by their fruit. So if somebody, right, is taking care of that plant, it's going to have strong roots. It's going to yield good fruit. But if somebody's not taking care of their plant, you're going to go over to their house and see the same black soil that was sitting there 2 months ago. Right? Go ahead and read verse 5.
Verse 5. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up because they had no depthness of earth.
No depth of earth. Read.
Verse 6. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away.
Go ahead and read verse 7.
Verse 7. And some fell among thorns, and thorns sprang up and choked them.
Go ahead and verse 8.
But others fell on good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who which has ears to hear, let him hear.
Who which hath ears to hear, let him hear. We're going to drop down to verse 18 to give context to what this parable Christ was talking about, what he was trying to say. Go on and read verse 18.
Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom,
hear the truth, read,
and understands it, then cometh the
and
wicked,
understands it not.
and understands it not. Then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received the seed by the wayside.
So remember in verse 4 when it said, when he sowed, some of the seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Right? These are the people who heard the truth, didn't understand it, and Satan came and took it. They got caught up. Right? These are the people who, when you're street preaching, they hear, stop for a second, and then walk away. It never happened. Nothing ever happened. They never bore witness. Right? So that's one of the things that happen when the truth is sent out. Read.
Verse 20. But he that received the seed unto stony places,
seed that falls on the rocks, right?
the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it.
So this is the person that hears the truth and they get excited. I'm gonna dig into this word. I'm gonna start. They studying and doing everything. Read.
Yet hath he not root in himself.
He's not rooted. He hasn't prepared himself. He hasn't built up any level of faith. Right? He's developed head knowledge, but he hasn't developed any real connection with the Most High. Read.
But dureth for a while.
So he's going there he hangs around for a little while. 2-3 years. Read.
For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word.
Oh, so when some tribulations and some trials happen. Read.
By and by he is offended.
By and by he is offended. He's gone. He's out. You receive correction. Somebody gives you correction. And you haven't built yourself. You haven't developed, haven't prepared your heart. Right? So you get correction and you get offended and leave. How many times have we seen that?
Plenty.
Or somebody who they've been going strong for a long time, and the heat gets on, they start losing things, and they're like, I just can't do this. I can't handle it. Walk away. See, a plant grew a little bit, wasn't any fruit, were no roots. Sun came, dried right out, no roots. Right?
Wow.
That's the stony ground. Read.
Verse 22. He also that receives seed among the thorns.
Among the thorns. Read.
Is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful.
You become stagnant. Read that one more time. I want to break that down piece by piece because that's the most important one. That's the one that happens most often.
Okay.
This one right here. Go on and read.
He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world.
And the care of this world, right? So you're in an environment around all of your friends. None of your friends are in the truth. This is mostly for people who are younger, right? People who are from the say 16 to 25, 26 range. You're transitioning from high school to college. And you have the truth, right? You have this zeal, right? But the cares of this world. Oh, you want to go do this? Oh, you want to go to do that? Oh, you want to go. The pressure from the people around you, right? Who are living the same lifestyle as you, right? The cares of this world. They start to tell you what it is that you should desire in life. Oh, you should go to college. If you're a woman, oh, you should go to college. Finish school, live your life, make mistakes, and then graduate. Don't get married because you don't need a man. Don't have kids because that'll just ruin what you're trying to do.
Right.
Have fun. Getting caught up, your eyes are taken off from the direction that you're supposed to be going in the direction of the Most High to the cares of this world. For men, bruh, you go out there and sow your royal oats, bro. You in college, bro. You know, have some fun. Worry about everything. Too uptight, bro.
You young, bro.
I mean, like, what you doing wasting your life? You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. What you worried about school for, bro? Come on out here. We're going to do this. I'll pay for you. Hey, for men, it's always that I'll pay for you. You're like, all right, you know.
I got you.
No, don't even worry about that, bro. I got you. Right?
Yeah.
The cares of this world, read.
And the deceitfulness of riches.
And the deceitfulness of riches.
Yes, that's where everybody is right now.
At this age, you're pursuing money, worldly gain.
Yeah.
It's at this particular age when everybody wants to get famous. Everybody's looking for that get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
Right? That's mostly the get rich quick is mostly on men's side. On women's side, it's I gotta go to school and I gotta focus on this and I gotta get here. No men because that's gonna distract me. I don't want any relationships. I don't need to have any kids. That's that side of it. The man is like, listen, I need to get this bag, and whatever it takes to get the bag, I am good. The deceitfulness of riches. Right? Read.
And the deceitfulness of riches choke the word.
Choke the word.
And he becometh unfruitful.
So these are the people who sit in the congregation, know they're living a certain lifestyle. Their focus isn't on the Most High. Right? This isn't always a wicked lifestyle. People don't realize that. This particular word is the most dangerous because it's not always wicked.
That's right.
It's the same. Look at the stony ground. That person wasn't wicked. It's just that they couldn't stand the pressure of loss. And the pressures that came with the truth, with knowing the truth and understanding the truth, right? This one, it doesn't even always have to do with being wicked, but allowing yourself to be enveloped in how I'm going to get my next meal. Where am I going to live? What am I going to wear? Those are the care of the world and the riches. Right. It's not always something that's wicked per se.
Right.
Come on.
So this person could be sitting in the congregation and be unfruitful because they're too busy worrying about the wrong things.
Come on.
Right.
These people could be in the body, amongst the body. Somebody on stony ground. Let me get that Bible, bro. I'm going to go through this with you. 2 years later, they ain't nowhere to be found.
Come on.
they come to you saying, bro, they go to the elders saying, oh, I lost this and I lost that. I don't know if I can take it, brother. It's like, listen, have faith. Everything gonna work out. 2 weeks later, they're gone. They quit. Developed all this head knowledge just to walk away.
Right.
But then you have those few that stay in the congregation with the thorns. It's like, listen, you aren't producing any works. This person's been in a congregation for 5 years and you can barely even realize that they're there because they're so busy worrying about the things in the world, they forgot about the work. No fruit to show. That's what that one brother was talking about. That meant so much. It was like, I've been in this truth for 10 years. He said, I've been in this truth for 10 years and I've done nothing. I've prepared absolutely nothing. I have no works to show for this 10 years.
Wow.
I was so busy with the job and getting all these cars and making all this money, and I forgot about the work. That was that seed where he caught it before it could choke him out completely. Those thorns were slowly wrapping him up. He realized that he was being wrapped up before it was too late. Read.
Verse 23. But he that receives seed into good ground is he that heareth the word.
They hear the word
and understands it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30.
Now, not everybody's meant to bring forth 30-fold. Not everybody's supposed to bring forth 30-fold. Maybe yours is just 2-fold. Maybe yours is just 3-fold. Right? So, I mean, it's not everybody is meant to do some crazy work that they see other people doing. Not all works are the same. Not all fruit is the same. But there should be fruit.
Right.
There should be something that you have to offer or bring to the table. Right? That's the seed that falls on good ground. They receive the word, they understand it, and they begin to walk. They begin to do the work.
That's right. That's right. And also those that have been in the truth for some time, I would say at least 2 to 3 years, should have something to show for it.
Oh, you should definitely have something to show for it. Oh, yeah.
In whatever form it comes, you should have something to show for. In other words, it should be apparent in your lifestyle, in your speech, how you carry yourself, how you walk, how you deal with others, how you deal with adversity, how you dress. All these things should show forth. If you've been in the truth for 2 to 3 years at least, something stuck. Something stuck, and it should have something to show forth, in your life.
And this point. And the scriptures, and I love how you mentioned how you look, because the scripture said a man is known by his look.
Exactly.
Ecclesiastes says a man is known by his look.
That's right.
How you present yourself. Right?
Right. So no one in this room can tell me, if you seen a brother, if you're in the mall, you see a brother, with a skirt on, you're not going to perceive that brother might be some kind of fruity or something. There's got a feminine spirit or something going on. Right? So yes, of course, how you carry yourself, it says something. So whether that brother has on jeans, had on a full 3-piece suit, but if they twisting when they walking, there's something off with that. So you have, and if you got a woman, that's wearing short, tight stuff,
or dressed like a dude,
that one or the other, whatever, your perception, to you is your reality. So you can't say that person right there is in the Most High.
And it's the same for us in the truth as well, and the way that we present ourselves. As far as you got some of them that dress like the Power Rangers, you got some that dress like the X-Men.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, people look at us. People look at them and they see everyone. Exactly. This must be how all of them dress.
Exactly.
It's just how that is. And some things have more power than others. Sometimes wearing Israelite garb to an Israelite function may be the move. But if you're going to present yourself in a church, it may be more advantageous for you to wear a suit.
Exactly.
Right? When Paul said that he is all things to all men, that doesn't mean that he was going before people looking like a sack of trash when he had to. He just made himself appear as them.
Right.
Right? If I'm going into a Christian church, I'm not going to go in with a mitre and a tunic on. I'm going to go in with a nice suit so I can present myself as, even though my knowledge is up here, even though my wisdom and my faith according to the Most High is here, I need them to see us as here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
We have to also keep at the forefront that we are representing the Most High in whatever situation we're in. Right? And we function according to knowledge. So if you know to do better, you do better. Whether it's in your speech, whether it's in your character, or if it's in your outward appearance. All right? So it doesn't matter what arena you find yourself in. You must still remember that you must function according to knowledge of the scriptures, and that you're representing the Most High.
Right? And Christ says finally in verse 9 in Matthew chapter 13, he says, he that hath an ear, let him hear. He that hath ears, let him hear. Right? This means that it is only our jobs as certain servants of the Most High to throw the seed. We are not responsible for where that seed falls.
That's right.
And who takes care of the seed and how.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, know that when you throw a handful of seed, know that only maybe 3 are going to come back as something. It's sad but true. As many as the people that we speak to, as many as the people who watch this video, it'll probably only be 1 or 2 people that actually get something out of it.
That's right.
And that's where it comes to being tough, preparing our hearts, knowing what is to come. Right?
Right.
We are responsible for throwing the seed, right? It's not in our control who takes care and how it grows. Because the fact of the matter is that if we never throw seed, there is never any fruit.
Wow.
Like I said, if I stop speaking right now, and that means that I'm not throwing seed, I'm not presenting the truth, no fruit comes forth. I'm benefiting Satan. I'm working for Satan. I'm working on his side. Right? Those who have an ear to hear the truth will come to the light and do the work. Those who don't, they won't.
Exactly. So you have to understand the difference between hearing and having an ear to hear. Everybody in this room, if you're not deaf, have the ability to hear sound. So having the sound just simply, hit the eardrum, that's just sensory achievement. But that's not necessarily hearing. Because if you have an ear to hear, you're hearing with the intent to act on that word or that instruction. For example, if I came downstairs and I say to one of my children, take that trash out, because the trash gets picked up in the morning. I come downstairs in the morning, the trash has not been taken out. You know what I'm saying? The first thing that's probably going to come out of my mouth is, hey, didn't you hear what I said? Right? Because you did look at me and say yes, sir. So I know you heard what I said. The thing is, you weren't listening to what I said. You heard me, but you weren't listening, because your intent was not to obey. Right? And so evidence of your ability to hear is in your action, your responsive action. Did you respond? Did you act? Were you listening with the intent to obey? That divides the two between just hearing and having an ear to hear.
Let's get Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 8.
All right, let me get that. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 8. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them.
Now this is the valley of the dry bones, right? Read.
And the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them.
So these were full bodies, right? This was a standing army, right? But there was no life in them. There was no breath. They were just standing there. No life, no breath, no real sense of living, right? No life. Read.
Verse 9. And then he said unto me,
the Most High said to him, read.
Prophesy unto the wind. Prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live.
Did he say speak to those bodies, or did he say speak to the wind? He said speak to the wind. Mm-hmm. He wasn't speaking to any particular person. He said prophesy to the wind. Mm-hmm. When we go out and we street preach, we're not speaking to any particular person. We're preaching so that all can hear. Mm-hmm. The words fall on everybody. Mm-hmm. But the people who are drawn, the people who have an ear to hear will be drawn. Exactly. They will be the ones that come and stop. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, all we're commanded to do is speak to the wind. All you're doing is throwing seed.
Exactly.
Whoever decides to catch that seed and do something with it, that's up to them. Mm-hmm. Read.
Verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, mm-hmm. and the breath came into them, mm-hmm. and they lived, and stood up on their feet, an exceeding great army.
This is how the children of Israel will become a nation again. This is how we will rise. All our job is to speak to the wind. The Most High is going to breathe life into them and make them the army. It's not our job to assemble and do all this kind of stuff. Paul said, I planted, Apollos watered, and the Most High gave the increase. Mm-hmm. Listen, we can't confuse what our jobs are here. At the end of the day, Paul and Apollos were both preaching. Mm-hmm. It's just that Paul planted the seed. They heard it from him. But then they heard Apollos, and Apollos taught them. Mm. But the Most High is what caused that plant to grow and produce works, produce fruit. Right? Somebody may hear from us. Stop. You may be street preaching, stop and hear from us, and we never see them again. But then they pop up with another church somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, you stole my God. Uh-huh. The work is the same. He heard it from me, but he found his teacher. Mm-hmm. The Most High gave the increase. All praises to the Most High. The goal was finished. We can't think that everybody who hears the word from us is supposed to be converted. And we can't expect that everybody that hears the word from us to stay with us. Everybody's paths in this truth are different. You may even agree in doctrine. Two churches agree in doctrine, but our missions are in two other places. Peter and Paul agreed. They agreed in doctrine. They just had different missions. Paul and Barnabas had the same doctrine. They just didn't like each other. So they had two separate ministries. That also goes to show that you're not going to like everybody in this truth. Just because somebody is an Israelite and in the truth doesn't mean you got to be best friends with them. Mm-hmm. There's going to be people that you just don't click with.
Right.
It's like, listen, we both in the truth. I'm cool with the brother, but like we're not friends. Like I see him, I dap him up, give him a hug. Hey, brother, how you doing? But it's not like we're not friends.
Right.
It's not. I mean, you don't click with everybody like that. Mm-hmm. Right? But at the end of the day, we have to understand that this work, we have to be dialed in. It's singular.
That's right.
There's one goal. Whether you're teaching from a position that we are or not, mm-hmm. you have to understand that when you start this work, trials and tribulations will come. And they will be often. It will be constant. Read.
Verse 8?
Yeah, verse 8.
Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces.
This is Ezekiel Chapter 3, verse 8. He says, behold, I have made my face strong against their faces. Remember how I said that we need to be as tough in this truth as they are without it? Mm-hmm. He said, Ezekiel, don't even worry about it. I made your face strong against their faces. That's why when you see a lot of these brothers out there street preaching, their faces just stoic, just... Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna get mad with you. What you want me to get mad and rambunctious with you? They be out there yelling in their faces, just be standing there. He said, I made your face strong against their faces. Read.
And thy forehead strong against their forehead.
And your forehead strong against their forehead. If it comes down to it, the Most High not gonna let you stand out there and get your behind kicked. Mm-hmm. He's prepared you in that way too. Read.
As an adamant, harder than flint, have I made thy forehead.
He said, I made your forehead stronger than theirs. Read.
Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house.
See, the Most High has strengthened us to be as strong righteously as they are unrighteously. And we don't even realize that these very same people, it may not just be a disagreement. They may try to fight you. Why do you think we see a lot of these churches street preaching? They got bodyguards.
Wow.
Our people are rebellious and they are very dangerous. He said, but don't be dismayed by their looks. You're just stoic. It's like, listen, I'm not worried about you. What I got to fear you for? But we have to go and speak to these people. Right? Not for the many, but for the few. For the few that will be saved out of that multitude. Because if we become offended and we become discouraged by the fact that we are converting multitudes, then we'll lose the few amongst those multitudes that we were meant to reach. People think that a successful church is 1,000, is 2,000. That's called a mega church. Mega church has got tons of people and the devil is all up and through there. If there are 7, 8, 9 people that you reach, you've done your job. Because the kingdom is for a few. Let's get Revelation chapter 10 verse 7.
Revelation chapter 10 verse 7. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God shall be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go, and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth.
So remember how I told you about the heavenly tables. This angel, the little book is the heavenly tables, right? It's the same thing that he was talking to Ezekiel about with the roll. It's the same thing. The little book is the roll, right? Now imagine an angel. He has 2 feet on the earth and 2 hands on the book, holding it up in the sky like this. Those are the constellations, the heavenly tables. The stories are written in the stars, right? So he's holding up this book, right? It says he has 1 foot on the earth and 1 foot in the sea, right? He's holding up this book. Those are the heavenly tables. Read.
Verse 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book.
Give me the little book. Right? So give me the heavenly tables. Read.
And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up.
Take it and eat it up. He's telling him to do the same thing that Ezekiel was told to do. To eat this roll. Read.
And it shall make thy belly bitter.
It shall make thy belly bitter. Read.
But it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
You see the difference? It says that while it's in your mouth, it's good. It's sweet like honey. But once it gets down into your belly, when you start digesting it, it's bitter. Because in your mouth, when you're knowing the truth and everything is good and you're reading and you're getting all of this knowledge, once it gets down to your stomach, you start to realize what comes with this knowledge. The pain and the trials that come with having this knowledge. That's why it's bitter. Right? Go ahead and get verse 10.
Revelation 10 and 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and I ate it up.
He ate the roll. Read.
And it was in my mouth sweet as honey.
The knowledge and the knowledge and the wisdom that he obtained was sweet. Read.
And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
My belly was bitter. The fact of the matter is that a realization in this truth is that learning the truth is the good part. Living the truth is the bitter. All those people around you that you love and care about may not be ready. You want them to see what you see now, but they aren't ready to see it yet. So you start to feel lonely. You start to feel segregated from everybody that you once knew and loved. It was designed that way by the Most High. You are going through this alone, but He separated you so that He can strip everything that Satan added to you and rebuild you for His own purpose. Read.
Verse 11. And He said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
He sent him out before all nations. Right? We were brought into this truth. We were given this knowledge. The second that we were given this knowledge and we see this knowledge, we became part of a spiritual army. And when you're a part of an army, you get attacked. Right? Mm-hmm. But when you become part of the army, you're at the lower level. You're still trying to find your part, your role in this army. You don't have a position yet. That's the most bitter part. Right? You got to do all the dirty work and different things like that. You're going through all the muck. But then once you get a position, you get a higher level of respect. Now, it's up and down from there, of course. But the start is usually the worst part. Because when you go into the army on the left-hand side, this is on the wicked aspect of it. When you go into the army, they shave your head. They don't let you sleep. They break you.
Right.
Everything that you learned prior needs to be stripped away from you so that they can turn you into the soldier that they want you to become. They are programming you. That's how it works on the left-hand side. They need to strip everything that you previously knew to build you into what they want you to be. It's the same thing with the Most High. When you come in, He's got to get rid of all of that crap that you received while growing and learning in this wicked world system, so that He can add to you what He needs to add to you for you to reach the kingdom of heaven. But you have to develop the strength to endure first. Let's get Matthew chapter 7, verse 6.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. Salaki. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs.
Give not that which is holy unto the dogs. Read.
Neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you.
They'll take the truth that you give them, trample on it, and then turn back and try to get you. Right? We can't force the truth on people.
No.
We can't force this knowledge and information on people who are not worthy to receive it. Because if we do, they'll try to use that same information that you gave them to destroy you.
That's right.
How many of you know that this information can be used to destroy? Satanists know this information that we're teaching too. But yet they're using it to destroy people. It says we cannot force this information on people who are not worthy to receive it or are not yet ready to receive it. Because if you start forcing this information on people, maybe it wasn't this person's time yet. Right? It wasn't this person's time yet, but you force it to the point to where they don't even want to deal with it. And they don't want to deal with you.
Right.
You put someone away rather than bringing them closer. People who reject twice, don't return to them with the information. You present it twice, if they don't receive it, don't deal with them on that level anymore. There is an order to this information. And if it's not used rightly, it can be used for wickedness. Because you have many people in this truth who are trying to force this truth on people like a tyrant. Go out in the streets and kicking down people Christmas trees and stuff like that. Like, no, that's called a tyrant. Even on a lower level. A husband or a wife come into the truth, either one, and you find out that Christmas is wicked. So you try to rip this away from your partner. Right? No, we can't celebrate Christmas no more. Not realizing that you just torn the two of you apart. She can't see, or he can't see what you see yet.
Right. Yeah, it's also the hardest, when you're dealing with people closest to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you know them better than anybody, as well as they know you better than anybody. Because it's at home amongst your family that you can show forth your humanity. You know what I mean? They're able to see things about you that others don't see, right? And so, and it's the same way, vice versa. And so, just like we talked earlier about, everyone comes at their own pace. right? And so just because we're all exposed to the same information at the same time, it doesn't mean that everyone is growing at the same pace. And so you will see something according to the truth that you know that's not right. And you may see it in even another family member, right? And so you want to force it, you know what I'm saying? Want to demand that they change it and abide, you know, to the word that we just learned, right? But you have to be careful with that because in forcing it, you know, forcing yourself or forcing the word or even forcing that person to line up, it can be exactly. It can be damaging. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's a lot of tongue biting. You know, a lot of taking a deep breath and just, you know, just kind of trying to be patient. But it's very difficult when you're dealing with people closest to you.
And that's why Paul said that if the man or the woman have truth and the other doesn't, if they be happy, if they be happy to be with you, don't put them away. Right? Because who knows if you could wind up being a salvation to them later on. Right? By being with your loved one and they're seeing you growing, they're seeing you get better in the Most High, they're seeing you become a better husband or a better wife. Right? They're seeing you grow. They're seeing their children grow. Right? And they see the things that you're learning. They can't deny that truth. Eventually, they're going to start to come around. Right? But if you force that, if you say, no more Christmas, and you start taking things away and snatching things, you're ripping, instead of slowly letting the Band-Aid peel off with water and everything like that, slowly come off on its own, you've just ripped it, and now the person's in pain.
Exactly.
That's where majority of these divorces, when you look at these videos of these women saying, or these men saying, my husband or my wife came into the truth, and they started acting like all crazy, and we wound up getting a divorce, and we have to do this with the kids, and he's not the same now, or she's not the same now. That's why. Because they tried to force this on another person. Now that don't mean that you need to be in there celebrating Christmas with them. No, I mean that. That don't mean that you need to indulge in sin, but you need to give that person a time to process.
Exactly. And also, to piggyback off that, also you don't want to abandon principle. You don't want to do that either. You know, I mean, there are just some things that you just can't compromise. You know, and if those individuals don't want to line up, well, somebody got to go. You know what I'm saying? But the thing of the matter is, you can be patient to a degree.
Exactly.
Right? But you cannot abandon all principles.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just some things that, you know, you just can't, you know, compromise is the curse. You know what I'm saying? It's comfort is the curse of compromise. Right? But that won't be so in this house. I'm just saying. It's how we really compromise. Compromise is something that can't happen, but affording time is something that can. Exactly.
And that's what the scriptures say, woe to them that have lost patience. You've put away a husband or a wife that you were happy with. You were both happy together because you lost patience. Right? That had nothing, that maybe that person was coming along. Maybe that person was seeing what you were doing and they were trying to get themselves together, but instead you lost patience and you've removed this person. Now you've pushed that person further away from salvation than they were before.
Right.
And to the point of being a tyrant, let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1. Now as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, and charity edifieth.
So now this is telling us how we're supposed to present the truth. It says, now as touching things offered unto idols, we all have knowledge. It's like, listen, we all know about this information. We, amongst the body, we all know the truth. But knowledge puffeth up. It makes you arrogant. Right? We can't force this knowledge on other people. Expecting them to do things that we know to do that they don't know to do. Expecting them to know things that they don't know. Right? We are to operate with charity, right? Charity in this context means love, right? We act with love to edify. Right? Wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. We're acting cunningly in a way to where they're coming along, but we're also not forcing it. We're not force feeding them. Right? It says, with charity, but charity edifieth. People are edified through love. Right? When you come in a spirit of meekness. Right? We must know once we receive this truth that we immediately become an enemy of Satan. And we've become an enemy to his kingdom. Right? And attacks will come from all directions moving forward. So those of you who are new watching this video, and those of you who are part of this body who are new, know that you will endure trials and tribulations. And some opportunities may come that may seem good or may seem harmless when you're actually pulling yourself further and further away from the work.
Wow.
When you've allowed the ministry of the Most High, you've allowed the work to be second. At no point, if there's a point in this truth where you have to make a decision between the Most High and something else, and you choose that thing over the Most High, you've already lost. You might as well turn back. Right? It's going to come from all directions, and they're going to come in a series of different ways, to the point to where we'll see like, oh, it seems like everything's going right. Now realizing that you're all the way turned back around. You're back at the starting point.
Wow.
The zeal that we began this truth with, that energy, that desire for more truth and for more knowledge, we have to find within ourselves and keep it. Set roots so that when the trials come, we can stand, we can endure. And those roots start with faith.
That's right.
Because the worst things that come are going to be when we start losing and when we're uncomfortable. That's when the trials are the heaviest. That's when you're going to want to quit.
Right.
But we have to understand, woe be to them that be faint-hearted, that are weak-hearted. The scripture says, if you come into this truth, prepare your heart for temptation. You need to gird up, toughen up. I mean, you're going to take a beating in this truth. It's a fact.
That's right.
The scriptures say, whoever chooses, Christ said, who is my mother and my brother? But those people in this room, the people that are learning this truth.
Right. That's right.
Right? Obviously, you give honor to your family, but if they aren't doing the work, then are you going to sacrifice your salvation for them?
Wow. See, the thing while you were talking, I was thinking about what you said earlier, about suffering loss and how lonely this walk can be at times. One thing people have to understand in this walk is that those that you start with, you probably won't finish with. If you look to your left and to your right, there's the fact those people are there now may not be there the next couple of years. Right? That's just how it is. Right? Whether it's family, friends, whatever. Those that you start with, you may not finish with. And we have to prepare our hearts for that. Right?
Is a lot of people are going to come and go. And it's not saying that you're supposed to expect for people to leave.
No.
But you can't be so hurt by people leaving that you allow yourself to fall as well.
Exactly.
And we've seen that too.
Exactly.
Seen that happen too.
Exactly.
Where it feels like, well, I built all of this, it all came crumbling down, and now I'm really the last piece standing. So let me just bow out. Right? There's a level. There's levels to this. The higher up you go, the more the attacks become. But if you keep your eyes where they were from the beginning, which was seeking the Most High and His righteousness, seeking the kingdom and His righteousness, everything else is going to come. You're not even going to realize that it's there.
That's right.
This walk will be over by the time. This time is speeding up. This is going to be over before you know it.
Yes.
It's a matter of if you have the strength to endure. And having the strength to endure begins with faith.
That's right.
Right? The scriptures say, whatever you give up for my sake shall be given unto you 10,000 in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever forsake mother or father for me, for my sake, it shall be added, counted unto them times 100. This is should you choose I don't expect for everybody to right off the bat choose the truth. But should you choose it? No, these are the things that will come your way. It's natural. It's not something that's just you. It's not just you enduring this. It's anybody who comes into the truth. And it's all of us who are still in the truth. I mean, just looking at everything that we've gone through in the past 6 years compared to somebody who's been in it for 20. Been in the truth for 20 years. 25 years.
Exactly.
Right? It takes a level of dedication, and it begins with faith. So if your faith is shaken, if you can't stand being uncomfortable, if you can't be abased, be content with being abased and being abound, then this work isn't for you. And it's best that if you are new to this truth, that you give yourself time to consider.
Exactly.
Because if you start, the scriptures say that woe be unto them that put their hands to the plow and look back. You should have Lot's wife should have just stayed in Sodom and Gomorrah. Her fate was the same.
Exactly.
No sense. And if you came into the truth and you was working this thing for 3 years, that 3 years of sin you could have got out the way. You allowed yourself to come into the truth and lose everything just to go back.
Right.
Consider.
That's right.
It's not for everybody. The scriptures say that the harvest is great, the laborers are few.
That's right.
The kingdom is for a few. It's going to be 1/10 of the population by the time all of this is finished.
That's right.
1/10 of the 1/3 that will be left.
That's right. Now, I don't know where else you're going with the lesson. But I just want to ask a question to everyone. Well, I'll ask the question, but I don't need an answer. I'm asking that everyone in the room internally deal with this question, and those that are watching, same thing. You don't have to answer. But in light of everything that was spoken here today, as far as the seeds being sown and things of that nature, everything we discussed today, right? And everything that you know, if you're in the truth, based on everything that you know, being in this truth, in terms of how you should live, you know what I'm saying, in the direction your life should be going in, things that you know concerning prophecy, right? If you really look at your life and consider your life for a minute, ask yourself, where is it leading you? Where is your life leading you today? Where is it leading you closer to the Most High, or is it leading you away from the Most High? Or are you just stagnant? Or maybe you just don't know. But on a serious note, the life that you're living right now, where is it leading? Ask yourself that. And based on what you know to be true concerning the answer to that question, you know what you got to do. Right? We talked about it today. You know what must be done. Right?
And for a question for those who have been in the truth for a certain amount of time, for any time really past a year or two, is what do you have to show for it? What is your fruit? If you could make a list for yourself, this is just for you. Just make a list for yourself and write down all of the things that have changed, that you've added, and all the things that you've accomplished according to the Most High's word. What fruit do you have?
That's a good question.
What do you have to offer? Yeah. What is your call in this work? And if you have things written, great. If you don't, you have some things that you have to assess. Not just within yourself, but mostly about what's going on around you. If you surrounded yourself with people who aren't about anything, then most likely you aren't getting anywhere, right? And don't think, and this is also another mistake that people in the truth make, is that by surrounding ourselves with wickedness, we can save people.
Yep.
That's not how this works. That when I talk to somebody who's outside of the truth, my intent is to work with them, but I don't indulge in what they indulge in to save them. That's not how that works.
That's right.
The whole goal of Christ going amongst the people that he was going to was to give the ministry, was to build on what he already had in the ministry. Your goal should be how does this benefit the body? Right? The strength to endure. Right? And it's a timely lesson because we're coming to the end of times. Mm-hmm. We're extremely close to the consummation of times. Those who understand prophecy and understand the calendar know just how close we are. Those who are coming into this truth, you don't have the same time that we had.
That's right.
Those who are now coming in fresh, you won't have the same amount of time that we had. You got to move quicker. You got to have just more dedication at this point than we had to have. You're behind the 8 ball. Right? And you're not going to receive all the knowledge, right? You're not going to receive all the knowledge that we received over this period of time. You're going to have to rely more on faith than the rest of us.
Right.
So your building faith in this time is more important than your acquiring of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is important. Wisdom is important. But faith is more important. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're going to have to rely on if there's a lack of knowledge. You're not going to have time to just sit and learn and take in everything the same way we did. You're gonna have to move.
That's right.
There's gonna be running. There's gonna be losses and death everywhere. Mm-hmm. Right? Especially in this time. Especially in these last times. All the death and different things is gonna be happening and going around at this particular time.
That's right.
It's gonna require a high level of faith. So for those new in the truth, this is very timely for you. And for those who've been in the truth, it's for you to assess. If Christ came back tomorrow, would you be ready? Would you have fruit to present? Would you have anything to present? Would you have any works? Mm-hmm. Right? And do you have anything?
No, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions? All right, so we've come to the conclusion of our lesson. We pray that everybody has been edified by this lesson. All praise to the Most High, Hayah Bahashem Yeshaya, Wagrawat, for continuing to bless the elder and I with knowledge and with wisdom. We pray that you were edified by this lesson, and we pray that you were encouraged by this lesson. Yes. So as we go forth on this Sabbath, we send all of our love and prayers out to everybody watching this video. We also send love and prayers out to the family in Sierra Leone. We also we pray for protection in this time. This is 2020 is already a super satanic year, but now we're on one of the most satanic days and throughout this whole year. So protection and cover yourself and make sure that you're prayed up. Sin not, and hey, we are on our way.
That's right.
All praises to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.